Intelligent Diva is a rising American hip hop artist who's just released a great new track called No Justice. How are you doing today, first of all?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great today as well. Now, your new hit song, No Justice, what's that about?
Well, it talks about police brutality and
Mm,
how we actually see it on our side. We see social media and it looks like, what they're doing. We can see it's totally wrong. And we feel like in the end, there should be some ramifications behind that because we see how citizens are prosecuted. But then when we actually hear how the outcome of these cases turn out for police brutality, it doesn't seem like they receive the correct amount of punishment.
yeah,
And so in that case, I sort of talk about some of the things that are up close and personal, perhaps with their training, that they're learning about when they're apprehending someone. And it's something that we feel like, okay, they could take a different approach. And we know there are a lot of things that need to be changed with our legal system. So I
yeah.
talk about that in the song.
Yeah. Has it been inspired by the events of last year with people like George Floyd, or did you always want to write a song about this because it's been an issue for as long as I can remember?
I did. It was inspired by that. Also, Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
And also, just a few things that we kind of see locally in communities around town. And so I did want to release it last year, but I held off
Yeah.
and I decided I'm going to release it on
Yeah.
the inauguration day.
Oh, of course. I mean, now that Joe Biden is the new president, how do you feel things might get better? I mean, police brutality is always been a problem, but do you think with Trump out the way, there's less sort of encouragement of it?
I'm hoping that there will be some things that will be changed around the legal system with him in office,
Yeah.
starting with the things associated with the civil rights, um, legal, the laws around that. And some of those loopholes, I think we really need to focus on
Mm.
closing those and really looking into some of their training and the approaches that they're taking when they're apprehending someone. I think a lot of things need to change, and so hopefully, with him working with other members of Congress, will allow him to do so. I'm looking forward to seeing this change.
Yeah. Hopefully, a change is going to come, as Sam Cooke says. Do you have any kind of personal experience of police brutality? Have you known people who have gone through it, or is it kind of just I guess most people in the world just hear about it and don't actually go through it yourself?
Well, a little bit of both. I do other things outside of music, and so
Yeah.
I'm actually like the president of my HOA board.
Oh.
Um, so with that, there was an incident where we were in our community, and actually not so much of police brutality, but I think it's so much of the mindset of an individual and the questions that they ask, that it can easily turn a situation into something different. And this
Yeah.
this was just a regular traffic stop situation where I was actually pulled over with riding through the community with one of our residents. And while we were pulled
Mm.
over, she did make an illegal change. She did do something wrong. And
Yeah.
so I told her, just kind of ask for permission. So because it was happening during the same time that there was a lot of rioting going on
Yeah.
with George Floyd, the outcome of what was happening around that. And so there was a lot of protesting going on. And so I didn't see where it was necessary for 5 police cars to pull over one car.
What?
Yes, for like a traffic incident.
Yeah.
At least 4 cops get one car to apprehend just to ask for your regular driver's license and registration. I
Yeah.
thought that was unnecessary. And then, of course, someone, if they're, one of these people to where, they're going to give those fight responses because they think that, well, this is really unnecessary. You're treating me like a criminal. You asked me for
Mm.
my driver's license and registration. Then I say, okay, well, can I go in my glove compartment? And then you ask me, do I have a bazooka? Do I look like I'm carrying a bazooka?
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of those things, when it comes to that's something that was a simple situation where it could have easily um, just answer this question. Don't say anything back to them because then they may find that to be disrespectful. It could have easily, and I could see if it was probably a different set of people and they will receive that. I've seen situations where that has happened, and a woman actually was killed at a place I worked at. And they asked her to pull over, and she did pull over, but she was actually on medication. So in that case, she used to go to this same spot every day, and she would just read her Bible. But she had done something where she actually had written some bad checks or something, and so she kept driving. She didn't stop for one, and then in that incident, she lost her life because she actually went to go into her glove compartment, and it just came to. And so in that case, those situations like that, it has to be better training, I think, and not you just looking at certain signs of movement that will trigger your instincts to think, okay, this person corrects me.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that it might be better if a lot of police officers are unarmed as well? Because in this country, I think I'm right in saying that most of our police officers don't carry any guns or anything. It's only people at like airports or places that need high security that have like rifles and stuff. I think they have tasers, but most of the time they're not really lethal.
Yeah, I think they've tried to, like where we live here in Jacksonville, Florida, in Duval County, we have community officers, and they sort of send those community officers to things that are like local traffic, violation.
Yeah.
But those things are like from an accident but those people actually pull over. And I'm starting this, but I do think that they actually need to probably look into engaging some of those officers for certain incidents, maybe giving them a little bit more power to handle certain things. But I'm also seeing that we are having more federal police officers on the streets now and handling the local, what you would consider like your local police officer situation. So I think that would help, but I think that the training and still a lot of the actual laws. We need to understand as citizens what what gives them the thought that we would pose a threat to them. So I think more education around that, and because it's more so like dealing with emotional behavior. You never know someone that you're speaking to and that you're approaching. You know the type of medical conditions they may have. So the pressure that you're applying to someone when you're apprehending them, you could be hurting them, and another type of situation, like they could have a cardiac because they may have, high blood pressure, cardiac arrest problems, and I think that they need more training. They need more laws that are around those situations. They're asking us for our driver's license. Maybe those conditions need to be put on there that say that. Maybe you run that first before you have something to kind of cut this down.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it comes down to what they are taught when they're really young, I suppose, because the only explanation why they would think the way somebody looks would cause them a threat is that they have some sort of racism in them, and I don't know, you just have to kind of educate them, but I guess it's not really working, educating them the normal way.
No, yeah, there are a lot of people being stereotyped every based on, sometimes it's location, where they are. You hear about it in a lot of the Black community. Sometimes, it's everywhere, but sometimes it's just a lot of people are stereotyped, by, the local people.
Oh, yeah.
And they may look like you don't belong in this area, or you're in this area, and this is a high crime area, so they're going to have judgment on everyone, to be of an African American race, and they look like they would come along. And so they come with that attitude. So I think it does have a lot with some of those things being personal, maybe their true look around that. And I think that in that case, that becomes where you can assess those things when you hire these people. You know, what are their thoughts? I mean, when you go to jury, they're going to ask you about, is there anything that you have experienced? Do you have a conflict of interest in this case that will affect your decision? So they're going to ask you that. I don't ask the cops or anything like that, or like do some type of behavioral assessment to see where their thoughts and their views are behind certain things before they hire them as police officers. If not, they should.
That's true. And I suppose maybe it doesn't really help that a lot of the time these police officers barely get a sentence. The most they'll get is like third-degree murder, which isn't even close to an actual murder sentence.
Yeah. I don't think they get what they really deserve. I guess that's where in my song I come out like I'm really mad because I'm like, it's not fair. A fair sentencing on the outcome of some of these situations. Not even it's worse for a citizen, and I don't see why they are not being tried.
I guess it's almost as if they're above the law or something, which I suppose technically maybe they are, but they're not above the courts.
You said, hey, above the law sounds like it could be a new song.
Oh, that's an idea. If I come up with a title, that means I get 50% of all the royalties, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say the kind of style of this song is then?
Well, the kind of style of the song, I kind of made it like it's a hip hop song, but I am a fan of instruments, so I want to be different. So I added like an electric guitar to it, and this time, to give it like that.
Yeah.
I want to draw the attention of everyone. Other than that, you probably would have like your classic hip hop, possibly trap beat. But I think that the guitar adds a bit of pizzazz to it. And then I also added like on the vocals for the chorus part, I'm asking the question, why? Because, a lot of times when you have so many questions, I know, if you have children, sometimes you are, as a kid yourself, you'd be like, Mommy, why? But why?
Yeah.
But why? Why this? So there are just so many questions. So then and I wanted to make it really catchy, why? So I think that I kind of put together to where I could try to make it a song that everybody could listen to, not so that it would be geared towards someone that's over the age of 18 this time. If you have you are an adult and you basically could use a song to educate your kids about it, because I actually read lyrics, I reviewed some of the cases and some of the things that I saw that I felt like, were wrong and what they identified, what was captured before I actually wrote the songs.
Well, where are we able to have a listen to this song if we want to hear it?
You can catch it on Spotify. You can catch it on YouTube, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal. It's everywhere. Please make sure you stream it today. And I hope you like it. I hope everyone loves it.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us today then.
You're welcome. Always good to speak to you.